Yeah, they do.
It's a retractable cord, extension cord, so they're pulling it out.
Guys, welcome back to the Whiskey Blendery. I'm here with Tim, and technically this is my first whiskey tasting. Now, the first time I came into the Blendery, Tim put me through the ringer, challenged us all to nose, to add water, just to get familiar with what's going on. And I thought to myself, I don't know that everyone who doesn't know about whiskey, I don't think they've gone through a tasting. And I don't think we've ever really shot one.
Yeah, that's something I was going to tell you is I think we need to really lean into the experiences that 100%. We offer, so people can really see what it's like, so then they know if they want to do that or book something.
Yeah, and again, from a short form standpoint and a long form standpoint, if Tim were to pour you all three of these bottles, you wouldn't know what to do or how to buy or what to purchase or how even to think of the whiskey until someone like yourself or Richard walks you through what's going on, the value of it, the age.
It's definitely more fun to have a guided tasting that can tell you some of the tasting notes and stuff. So like we were just talking about the fruit punch and how it is like Hawaiian punch. And you know, I don't know if I would have, depending on what I just had or ate or whatever, I don't know if I would have got it, but it's so much more fun knowing, searching for the Hawaiian punch, and then once you find it, it's like, oh, that's really cool.
And here's one rule to consider for those that are still watching. When you come to a tasting, do not eat spicy food.
It's true. Don't eat your tiki drum wings that he says aren't spicy.
They're not spicy.
They will get you.
They will not get you.
They claimed a couple lives last night.
But let's go through two bottles and walk you through.
Have a clear palate and don't have drank anything prior.
Like Coke or anything?
No alcohol.
Okay, no alcohol.
Yeah, you can have water and that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, even if you have a soda or something, that'll clear out. If you drink a little water, eat a pretzel, that'll clear out. But if you eat your tahiki stuff, then that's going to stay with you for a few hours and influence the whiskey. Don't chew gum.
Okay.
Gum ruins it. Don't brush your teeth right before. That ruins it. Don't drink coffee. That ruins it.
Oh, see, these look short form. This will be fun. Him talking about the things that ruin a good tasting. So let's start with something like this. I walk into the Blendery. He set me up with a tasting. I've got 4 options, and I was like, man, what is Chari Night? Now I know because I shoot the content, but if you were to walk me through what I'm getting, what's going on, and why this is, I guess, unique in my lineup.
Yeah, why we bottled it. Yep.
Walk them through it, man. So this is what Tim did. They pour you about what, a half ounce?
Slightly under that, yeah.
That right there is, believe it or not, just enough whiskey. It's under this right here. It's just enough whiskey for you to.
That's a good amount.
To open up to
several sips you can get. So that's a 10-year, 95% rye whiskey sourced from MGP. But it's a very unique pour because of that specific barrel and location. So it's a low proof, sweet rye that drinks like a bourbon. So that's why it's unique. That's the bottle that puts you on Team Rye when you're on Team Bourbon. You drink that and you're like, all right, let me jump over to Team Rye real quick.
Now again, I'm new to this. I'm pretending to be you guys. I'm new to this, and I hear him say, hey, this is going to convert you, or it's an easy drinking bourbon. Bourbon is what? Why is bourbon a more of the first choice?
Because it's sweeter. It's got higher corn content, so the more corn you add, typically it's sweeter. The more rye flavor grain you add, typically it's a little spicier. But that isn't spicy. That's sweet, which makes it unique. So.
Unique to those people who are unfamiliar right now. Next thing that I think is important, Tim and the guys will tell you to nose it. Richard has a way in which he knows this thing, and it's up, down, left, right, A start. For you Sonic fans back in the day, he'll go left nostril because you have a dominant nostril.
Contra? You ever play Contra on Nintendo?
I did. That was the game.
There was a code there similar to that.
Point is,
unlimited lives.
Oh, look, that means he died all the time. But I would tell you, I didn't know that I had a dominant nostril, and I struggle with breathing. So I'm like, damn, I never thought about which.
And it switches.
Yeah.
So it might be something later in the day. But opening your mouth
Just about to say that too.
And
So
breathe
now,
through your mouth with it open. That makes a huge difference.
all these little things
So sweet.
create a whole
Vanilla,
experience
caramel. Yep.
around whiskey. And that's what, for me, it was like, wow, what is it? Why does he know this? That was my question. Like, why does he know all this? So I remember the first time I nosed whiskey, and I think my initial thought was, all alcohol stinks. You're supposed to drink it and get drunk, and who cares about the age and all that stuff? I didn't know those were things until I met you and the details of those things. So now after you nose it, like you said, you can get a few sips out of this, right?
Yeah.
Rule number
probably
1,
3.
you told me, I think all of us, and you tell people still, don't drink it right away. Let it sit in front of the mouth for a second.
Yeah.
Walk them through that.
Yeah, so I normally, little sip, and then, you're agitating it, which you could do that, especially on this one. But yeah, just hold it right at the front of your mouth for about 5 seconds, and then you feel your saliva glands kick in, and then swallow it, and then it's a more pleasant experience versus like if you normally come in and then not shoot it, but just drink it right away. Like it doesn't coat your palate as much, and you want it to you want those fats to kind of coat your mouth, and really, so when you take that first breath, you're getting a lot more from that whiskey versus it just going straight down the pipe.
Now, another thing that I don't think people know when experiencing whiskey is sometimes, Tim, you'll have them take, like after your third sip, your tongue and it's almost like your mouth gets acclimated to the whiskey. So between your first and third sip, it also could taste different, even if you do everything right. And then you go, wow, this is better than I thought.
Yeah, so a lot of times if we're starting a tasting and then, people's first reaction is, ooh, wow, that's hot, And it's like, okay, it's kind of shocking your palate because it's your first drink of cask strength alcohol. And so it will kind of shock your palate. And then by the time we work through the rest, then if you come back to the first one, it's a completely different experience. So that's why you see guys when they're doing their Battle of the Blends or any of that stuff, they're like, hey, can I get a starter pour or something to acclimate my palate to the whiskey? So the first thing I try is more dialed in.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it for what it is versus like, oh, here's just high proof alcohol for my first sip. So yeah, I think that's important.
And another thing that you do really well is setting up the pours, not just based on story, but approachability as well.
Yeah, I think so. So that one's so soft and approachable, and normally you would think, okay, a rye we would put at the end of the tasting.
Yeah.
But that's so soft and sweet and approachable that we would put that in the beginning. So the most flavorful, highest proof, most staying power, we want at the end because it's going to carry over. So
just even turn them into a customer.
And that's the same with like, if you're drinking beers, like you're not going to drink a barrel-aged beer and then go to
Budweiser or something.
Yes, a light beer, because you won't taste that light beer at all because you'll still be tasting the other thing. So you want to kind of work up in intensity and not go backwards.
Now, the premise of this video too is I again think that there's a fun way, an educational way, and a definitely highly entertaining way to do some of this stuff wrapped around what, like you see a good meal or somebody puts a recipe up, you go, wow, I want to experience that. I got to go to this restaurant. The Whiskey Blendery does such an amazing job of creating an experience for myself and so many others that we haven't really highlighted what goes into literally every pour and how you should, in my opinion, of course, come and experience it. But I remember thinking alcohol was bad. I remember thinking that alcohol was just alcohol, and because of you and the Blendery and it's moments like this where you go, oh, that's not just alcohol. Moments like last night, you go, those guys show up, and I promise you it's not just because it's alcohol.
Yeah, last night wouldn't have happened without like really, really good whiskey for people to either talk about or even the not so good honey whiskey that was brought over.
That's true. I'm surprised they did that. I was like this, of all the things you guys chose.
But it's fun to compare multiple different releases of honey, which they brought our honey release out after we tried 3 others, and I wish they would have included that in the blind,
because you would have tasted the difference.
I don't know. I think so, but if it's blind, then we find out. So So it's fun to see where other people take certain things, and even like other like Mizunara finishes, or other rye whiskeys, or even those other bottles we had no clue, you know, what this distillery was, and it's like those are the ones I want to gravitate towards and try those, because it's like, okay, like I want to see what their brand has to offer.
On top of that, I think you also, from a data standpoint, like to see how to potentially add that component to your Rolodex of kind of like tools.
And I always like to ask them, hey, what'd you pay for that bottle? I said that last night.
Yes.
Because
How
I'm
much is
just
that? Oh,
kind of
that's a good
storing
price. I
that
didn't
away.
want that.
Well, yeah, and it's good. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, that bottle's worth that. So yeah, I would give that much for that bottle, but some of them are just like crazy, and some of them are undervalued, and it's a good barometer to know like where everybody else is sitting at, because I know where I can buy similar barrels of what Barrel did, and I think I even have some similar barrels of it, and I know what I paid for them, so it's like, oh wow, you know,
I had to pay for itself if I just.
Yeah, I mean, well, like that one we thought was buff turkey. It's like, man, with that nice packaging and all that, and he was selling it at $150. It's like, dude, my cost would be over $150
just on that particular bottle.
Yeah. So that's a reason why I think some of the guys were like, maybe this isn't buff turkey.
Yeah, they were perturbed. Chance, before you got there, was literally distraught.
After I tasted it, it didn't taste as good as the one that we got.
Just brought up
yeah,
here.
I think we need to
revisit that.
Try both of those to see if they're the same or not.
Well, guys, here's the thing. If you've ever got into, I would say, collecting, or you've fancied trying new things because you don't know what you don't know, one of the best ways to start a whiskey journey is here at the Blendery with Tim and Richard, or technically, I think even I could manage a tasting as long as I have the information, because it is literally, I think, it like woke me up in a sense. And if you've ever been in a room that you didn't know you needed to be in, whiskey was like, oh, nose it, hold it, sip it. This is crazy to me. But now it makes the utmost sense in the world. So if you want to see more things wrapped around the whiskey experience, again, I'm going to call to action is comment below other things you wish you knew. And if you're starting today, what's your favorite bottle that you tried so far? If you got anything from the Blendery, talk about literally the bottle that kind of like got you into it, because that's a thing too, right? Mm-hmm. You don't know you like a Buffalo Trace or a Whiskey Blendery, or I think Chance brought like some High West stuff, and then they brought the Still Austin, and I'm just naming stuff because I was like, all these people do something different, and then they have that thing that they do that makes them them. Iron Root, friends of yours, and even Predemption, those guys, everyone does something different. It's all whiskey, but it's literally based on who you're with, how you experience it, and in this case, what you know or what you don't know. Mm-hmm. Yep. Anything else you want to leave them with as we close this one out about whiskey experiences or whiskey tasting?
I learned a lot by trying very similar sister barrels or very similar releases, and trying them all in a lineup. Like, it taught me a lot about that whiskey. Like, for example, like I remember my brother got a sample set of Vertical, so every year of the Thomas Handy.
Yeah.
So one Christmas we lined up. It was just like 1 ounce samples of all of them. So we lined them all up, and I learned so much about Thomas Handy and what I like and what the good years were and all of that. Like, you learn so much by doing that. So it's fun to. Maybe we'll do some kind of like 3 different like custom options going forward on some of the tastings, to where if you want, hey, show me like a sampler platter, which is normally what we do, like an easy drinking this, and something finished and a rye and like good sampler platter. Or you could say, hey, give me all ryes, give me all bourbons, or give me like all sister barrels.
Or what about just the good stuff? What if somebody's like, yo, I want to pay $1,000 for a tasting?
Well, that's ridiculous, but
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I think that's probably doable. It'll definitely be doable at the new place. And then say if they want to try like all buff turkeys, or if they all want to try all 18-year cast strength Kentucky whiskey, or all 20+ year light whiskeys or something like that. I think that would be really cool. I think we'll do that. I'm gonna make a note of that.
Hey, that's the point of this thing, man. Now, again, everything that we do here is almost customized to your experience, but it's literally custom whiskey at its finest by way of Tim and Richard and everybody who cares about how you see, drink, and taste whiskey. If you've not got a chance to come and fill your own bottle or go through a tasting or bring some friends and do a blend, I would challenge you literally to do so, but I promise you it will change the way you see whiskey forever. Until next time, man, thanks for watching. Keep it whiskey.